Hey, hockey fans, welcome to the Idiots Talk Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Keegan. I'm joined by Eric, and today we're going to be talking about the state of the Arizona Coyotes, how they did last year, how they're going to do this year, and we've got some breaking news. Alex Galchenyuk and Max Domi go their separate ways for one trade between Montreal and Arizona, and how much better does this make either team? What do you think, Eric?
Well, I think it's a no-brainer that it makes the Arizona Coyotes a better team.
Heck of a lot better.
Alex Galchenyuk is one of those guys who we're almost waiting to see if he can hit 40 goals in a season. You know, I think he has that kind of potential. You watch him play. He does a lot of things right out there. Has an awesome shot. Great release. He's up there with Ovechkin and Laine in terms of a 1T slap shot.
He's been, it seems as though he's been mismanaged his whole career. I mean, it's kind of funny. You've got to trade here two wingers, two underperforming ringers traded for each other, and both teams want to play him at center. And you don't get it. You know, I think Galchenyuk is a natural winger. I think Domi is a natural winger, and I don't know why Montreal made the trade. It doesn't make any sense for if you're a Canadiens fan. So if you are, I feel kind of bad for you today. Because Galchenyuk has so much potential.
Well, and Montreal is one of those teams, they need to score goals as well. And what did they just do? They got rid of their...
Was he their leading scorer last year?
He may have been behind. I mean, there's either him or Pacioretty, I believe.
Their leading point getter. I'll look it up. Keep going.
And why... I don't know why... if you're Montreal, I don't really know how much sense this can make for you. I mean, granted, Domi is a little bit younger in 1 year. Younger than Galchenyuk, but Galchenyuk has played over 400 games in the NHL, whereas Max Domi is just slightly over 200.
He was ready at 18, and Domi was not ready at 18.
Ready at 18. The kid's a monster. I think he's gonna fit in over there in Arizona real well. You know, playing alongside Clayton Keller, Calder Trophy nominee this past season.
Brendan Gallagher was the leading point getter for the Montreal Canadiens last year.
Alex Galchenyuk, number two, with 51 points in 82 games played, 19 goals.
And you know, we looked this up before. We saw he shot 9% last year. And 9% was about 3 or 4% lower than he had at any other point in his career. And Domi was another low percentage guy, 6%, but I think it was 4 empty netters. That's the definitive number. 4 empty net goals out of 9, so 5 goals on goaltenders. If you put a highlight reel of all of his goals last year, it would be 1 minute and 45 seconds long.
Right. Well, you know, Max Domi, he's a young kid. He's a little on the smaller side. Mm-hmm. He's got great hands. Mm-hmm. He's a great passer. I think he can be a great playmaker. Mm-hmm. But again, these teams need scoring production, and I think Arizona just picked up what they needed in terms of that.
And Montreal did not get what they needed.
Montreal did not get that. You know, and going back to Galchenyuk for a minute here with his, what was it, a 9% shooting percentage? 8.9 shooting percentage. You know, this is a guy that could have been good for 25 to 30 goals last season over there in Montreal.
Tons of chances.
And I feel like he's going to have more talented players up front to play alongside, better playmakers over there in Arizona. So, I mean, is it far-fetched to think we could see him hit between 35 and 40 goals in his very first season out there in the desert? A hungry Alex Galchenyuk. It's exciting.
This is an exciting. If you're a Coyotes fan, if you're one of the 3,000 real Coyotes fans, you know, that go out and watch the games, it is as exciting of a time. And this was the main story here from today.
Before this trade was announced, the Coyotes are going to be an exciting team. And then with them bringing over a guy like this, it's huge.
You know, we're a very part-time production here. We've been planning this out, right? We've been doing our research the last few days, and this happens last night. It's like before this happened, we were talking about Arizona is going to be fun to watch next year. And then they add Alex Galchenyuk, who is one of the most offensively talented young men in the league. And I think the only reason he hasn't had a 35, 40 goal year, a big 80-point year, is because he's been mismanaged.
Well, and you brought up a great point. In Montreal, the media is always in your face. You're under such a brighter light, no matter who you are playing over there on that team. So to come to a team like Arizona that, in our opinion, I think I speak for Keegan as well, is going to be an up-and-coming very talented team.
Less expectations.
Almost
no
less
expectations.
So
They don't care.
that's got to be fun for a guy like
Yes.
Galchenyuk. Get back to playing hockey, making it fun out there.
Who won? I as much as Vegas didn't. Who got to the final this year? The teams that had no expectations going in. Nobody said Washington's making it to the final. Nobody said Vegas, and that's the pressure does a lot for these guys in a bad way, unfortunately, in today's league, and that's just the way it looks. And I think Galchenyuk has had so much pressure put on him, and now he's going to a place where he has no pressure, and he's playing with. Can you imagine Stepan, Galchenyuk, and Keller, or if you put Galchenyuk in the center position with Keller and Dvorak, these guys are incredibly talented. Let's get to a couple of them here. And by the way, Oliver Ekman-Larsson with the verbal deal, hasn't signed that paperwork yet. Looks like Ekman-Larsson's coming back for 8 years.
Coming back for his 9th NHL season at 26 years old.
All in the desert. And you've got to think this guy has been through the absolute dirt. You know what I mean? He's not – they've never I guess he has made it. He even himself has made it to the conference final. The Coyotes didn't – I think it was – 4 or 5 years ago now.
He got a taste.
Yeah, so he's had a taste of the playoffs, but, I mean, they've been bad for a while, but beside that, and even when they made that run, they were not a good team. They kind of eked in there and just grinded out some teams. So, OEL, he wants to win in the desert, and it looks like he's confident that he can win in the desert.
Well, and you see what OEL has done this past year. He's played 82 games, 14 goals, 28 assists, good for 42 points. And that's about his average. He's been
consistent.
Honestly, that's probably low average for him. I mean, he's usually, I think, closer to the 50-point mark.
Yeah.
He was 23rd this year in points among all NHL defensemen. And you look at guys, in his contract is going to win this new contract, which is what, $8.25 million, I think, for 8 years.
Yeah.
When that expires, he's going to be 34 years old. So you got to ask yourself, how good is he going to be in the last 2 or 3 years of that contract?
I think you could look at so many contracts in the NHL and say, oh, my God, when that one expires, it's going to be bad. But, how many guys – Shea Weber, that contract is horrible. But Shea Weber is, perhaps the greatest defensive defender in the game right now. But I mean, I don't know. I think he's 38 when it's over with, or the Ryan Suter and the Zach Parise deals. Those are not going to look good at a certain point, but I think you got to underpay a guy a little bit in his prime so that you're overpaying him. Like Shane Doan, what was Shane Doan making in his last year? Had to have been $6 million, and it's is 4 goals and 9 assists worth $6 million? It's not, but it's the leadership, it's the intangibles, and Ekman-Larsson he's got to be a leader on this team now.
Well, and you just said it, the leadership. He's only 26 years old, but to me, he feels like a 30-year-old veteran.
Yeah, he's seasoned.
He's seasoned. Again, this is going to be his 9th.
Here's what we haven't talked about. Big minutes.
Big minutes.
He's never played small minutes in Arizona.
Well, and he's only had 2 seasons in which he played less than 75 games.
Tough.
One of those seasons was the shortened 2012-2013 season because of the lockout, and the other season was his first year in the NHL, which he played 45 games. So this guy always plays big minutes every night, never misses a game. His career totals played 576 NHL games in his career. Has 102 goals, 188 assists, good for 290 points.
This is perhaps the greatest Arizona Coyotes defender that they've ever had.
Well,
and the thing is, you have to lock him up at 8-8. And if I hope they ink that deal. I think this Galchenyuk deal, if he didn't already sign, I mean, him and his agent are on the way to the office now because this is a big move.
Well, Ekman-Larsson, by agreeing to this deal, says, I want to stay in Arizona for reasons other than the max payout.
Yeah, that's true.
Because could he have fetched $9 million elsewhere?
Yes.
So he's taken, even 9.5. Could he?
Yeah.
So
with PK Subban making $9 million, yes.
So that's the thing, and this is a guy who's been nominated for the Norris, I think, several times, maybe 3 times. He was already making $6 million per year.
And look, I mean, we can OEL is
go on for days.
Yeah, we can literally go on for days about the guy. I mean, he's a classy guy too.
Well, it's great to have a leader back there on the defense because Arizona is such a young team. It's good to keep that veteran in your organization.
Train a guy like Chikrin, who will segue right into on how to be a professional, how to show up at the rink every day. And Chikrin's already battled some injuries, and I think maybe who knows? It's I'm sure it's just bad luck. It's just a turn of bad luck, but it could be anything, And I think a guy like OEL is gonna train up these younger guys on how to be a pro, how to come to the rink every day, how to act. And you know what? We can't take this away. OEL had Shane Doan for how many years? Who was a consummate professional, one of the greatest to ever play. And I mean Shane Doan wouldn't tell you that about himself.
What a guy to learn from.
I'm telling you exactly. So, and you've got a guy like Jacob Chikrin, who was injured a couple times last season, but every time he returned, did not look out of place. And he's 19.
And he did not play a lot of games.
No,
like you had mentioned, he was up and down with injuries all year. So
Yeah.
unfortunate for him, but again, watch out for this kid.
It is unreal talent.
Big kid, can shoot the puck, pick
Yes,
corners.
strong.
Yep.
And sound, both defensively and offensively. He's got that nice. He's got a lot. I think he's got a little bit to learn defensively, of course, as any young defender does when you're playing against. You go from playing against junior age kids to grown men who do this, for a living. It's a completely different game out there. But a kid like Jacob Chikrin is something for fans to get excited about. How good he looked when he returned. And by the way, Clayton Keller.
Shoo, jumping right into it, huh?
Yeah, jumping right into it. The best rookie year in Coyotes history.
Yeah.
The best rookie year. And if it wasn't for a kid named Matt Barzal, is he the rookie? I mean, I know you got Brock Besser, had an amazing half a season before he got injured. But, I mean, Clayton Keller just looked in the desert with a bunch of other kids. He wasn't playing with, Matt Barzal got to share some time with John Tavares.
Sure.
And that opens up room for you. I'm not saying that you can't take anything away from Barzal, and I can't wait to talk about the Islanders, by the way. But, a kid like Keller is playing with Dvorak, sometimes a Derek Stepan, who is a good professional, a good guy, who had a good year, and we'll get to him. But give me some Clayton Keller numbers here. Like, how was this guy's season?
Well, like you said, at age 19, this kid looks like a professional out there at such a young age. Like he's been doing it for a long time. He doesn't look out of place out there. Looks so calm, so comfortable, great in so many facets of the game, rather. So he's played 82 the full season, 82 full games this year. Had 23 goals with 42 assists, good for 65 points.
Unreal in a rookie year.
And with the way he started, he could have hit 80.
That's true. And people forget about that. He was
on
lighting
fire.
it up for a while. He I think it was a bit of a mid-season slump for him. And that is a testament to, I think the league gets harder to skate in.
Well, it's a long season, and when you're giving it 110% every night in the NHL,
you're a young kid, you're learning how to do it. You're learning how to prepare your body for it. Because that's something nobody talks about. When you're playing 2-3 times a week, that is a grind on your body.
Sure.
It's a grind on your body, and these kids have to prepare themselves. They have to get stronger. Keller's still small.
Yep.
I'm hoping to see another 15 pounds of muscle on him at least.
Yeah.
He's got to bulk up a little bit, but there's still room for the Johnny Gaudreaus and the Patrick Kanes. I mean, and that's what this kid is.
This kid is such a great young playmaker. He is. Like you said, Patrick Kane, Johnny Gaudreau. This kid fits right in. He will be in that discussion with those guys as if he isn't already.
Right.
He will be, and his passing is remarkable. You watch his highlights, you see a lot of his goals, you see a lot of the good things he does out there, but you don't get to notice his passing so much. But I'm telling you what, this kid, he just makes plays happen, and bringing Galchenyuk over gives him somebody to pass to that can finish.
That's what we notice with Galchenyuk is his finish is crazy. Even at a low shooting percentage, when he gets the big opportunity and it doesn't look like he should score, he scores. And you watch his highlights from the last couple years, and he scores goals, and he does it often. If you score 20 scoring goals with and who realistically is Galchenyuk playing with? Pacioretty had Radulov, and when he had Radulov a couple years ago, he scored more goals. Right? Radulov was able to set him up a little bit more, and that Montreal Canadiens team, I think it's just been dysfunctional. I think the media kills them a lot of times. I think bringing attention to certain players when maybe you shouldn't bring attention to certain players and things like that. But we won't really get into that. I think Clayton Keller is about to have a big year. And another guy who's about ready for another big year is Christian Dvorak. Dvorak looked great. I think we were watching a couple highlights before this. Dvorak still makes some bad decisions sometimes.
He does.
And that's, but when is he 21?
Yeah, he's 21 years old.
He's a kid. Of course he's going to make bad decisions. And I think we see so many of these 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids not looking at a place that when a 21-year-old does, you're like, oh, I mean, he doesn't look that good. And it's like, no, he's really good.
It's not even that he looks out of place out there. It's just, could he make a few less errors?
Yes.
He could.
Always.
He could.
Right.
But, this kid, he had 37 points in 78 games this season with 15 goals. I believe it's his second year in the NHL playing for Arizona.
And first year with Clayton Keller.
And the thing with the 37 points, that is underproducing. If you watch this kid, he looks way better than a mid-30s point player.
I couldn't agree more.
He looks better than a mid-40s point player. This kid is poised for a breakout season. He's a big body.
Yeah.
He's not huge, but he's a big body. He does a lot of things well. He has a great finish around the net. Mm-hmm. Puts some goals in. Big question is, can we see him hit 55, 60 points this season?
I think he's poised for it.
I think he could.
I think it's exactly what you said there. I think he's ready for it. He's due for that big year. Something big coming up. I think. And it was really interesting before any of this research here. You don't pay a lot of attention to Arizona. They're on the West Coast. We're here in Florida, so it's tough. We don't catch a lot of their games. They don't start till real late. So it's kind of hard to see those West Coast games. And a guy like Derek Stepan, I saw a lot of when he played the Rangers.
Right.
You watch a lot of those games, and he always was a great producer, a good centerman, won the draws when he needed him to. I think the guy kills penalties. I could be completely off base with that, but he's versatile. He's not a guy that only does one thing well. And when I saw his stats from this year, I said, man, I didn't really think he had a good year. I look up his stats. He had nearly a career year playing with children in the desert with no chemistry. First year, brand new coach, lost 19 straight games. What are we going to see next year out of these guys?
And again, Derek Stepan, what is he, 26 years old?
26, young. He's not old.
He's not. He's in his prime.
He's
right.
our age.
These are his prime years.
Right.
And it's something we had just talked about with Galchenyuk. Derek Stepan was in the spotlight over there playing the Garden for, 5 seasons, 6 seasons?
Yeah.
I think he came to the NHL when he was 19 or 20. So I think, going over to Arizona, starting fresh, no expectation.
Line one.
Line
minutes.
one. And what a great
Unanimous,
guy
yeah.
for Christian Dvorak to learn a thing or two from.
And when we were really talking about who is the leader here, and it's when you've got a 26 and 27-year-old, is Ekman Larson 27?
20. Well, he's 26 now. He may be 27 when the season starts.
So these are these are your leaders, the guys who have done it, who've made it into the playoffs, who've gone far into the playoffs. I mean, you've got character guys like Brad Richardson, who is a free agent. Is he coming back? We don't know. Maybe if they need that leadership still, but with that said, there's not much of a leadership core there. There's not a group of 30-year-olds who've been doing it, 28, 29, 30-year-olds.
Derek Stepan's got to be that guy.
Stepan has to be that guy to teach these kids how to be pros, because it's not easy in this league. And I think it's easy. I'm not going to say it's not difficult. Of course, it's difficult to have a good year, but it's really difficult to have 2, 3, 5, 10 good years. To have a good career is extremely difficult. Almost any one of these rookies could burst out on the scene.
This team's shaping up.
But
it's hard not to sit here and smile and get giddy about it because
seriously,
this team is coming together. They're making all the right moves right now.
Before our eyes, because you and I, when you're this age, you really follow hockey for 4 or 5 years in a row, maybe 6 years. You're into it, following it deep, and in that time, Arizona has not looked good.
And Arizona is about to be a fun team to watch. Exciting.
It was really interesting this year when you saw the pieces go there. Nicholas Hjalmarsson, Derek Stepan, Antti Ranta. When you see these pieces go over there, started last season, you're going, holy smokes, they're making some big moves. And then they lose 19 straight. 19 straight games. They didn't win. A couple overtime, couple of shootout losses, couple of close games. But, I mean, that is about as backbreaking.
But when you throw a brand new coach,
new system,
a new system, that's the thing.
There's so many different. There's so many variables that are in play here, and you look at this team, and then after that, to finish the season, they went 29, 27, and 7, which is 500 hockey under a new coach.
Right.
So I'm not going to get into if you change some of these losses to wins. but I think they do much better next year.
I would agree.
And it really looks as though you've got a team shaping up with all the right roles too. We'll talk about roles. Christian Fisher, big body guy, a guy who's this role now is getting very rare.
Skilled big body guy.
Skilled big body guy. It's a very rare role that Tom Wilson serves. You know what I mean? He's not a Ryan Reeves. He's not a guy that's 240 pounds that's going to hurt people. But he is a big body guy. He does throw the body, and he can finish around the net, can make the pass. You know, he's one of these guys that brings all facets of the game together. And you know, you've got the guy, which is a rare guy like Clayton Keller, who makes the play out of nothing all the time. And then, you know, all these different roles. Christian Fisher, big body. Dvorak can finish around the net. Oliver Ekman-Larsson running the power play. Alex Goligoski had a heck of a year on the power play.
Yeah, he did.
You told me that. I didn't even. I mean, Goligoski, I didn't even really think twice about him.
Well, and think about what Arizona's power play is going to look like. And let's not forget, Rick Tocchet is one of the best power play coaches in the NHL.
He constructed Stanley Cup winning power plays.
Yeah. For
Not
the Penguins
just
as the
power
assistant
plays.
coach. Yeah, sure did.
Stanley Cup winning power plays. So this team is about to be, if Rick Tocchet can get this group, you know, buying into.
He
his
has
system.
the players.
Yeah, he's got the talent, and that's the real thing here is, you know, you can't always put it on coaching, you can't always put it on players, but it's a mixture of both.
Well, and now another big question is, can Antti Ranta perform as good or close to as good as he did last year?
He had a 930 in 47 games.
29 years old, from Finland. He's
Unreal.
a small goalie.
Small goalie.
6 foot, 193 pounds, as listed on Wikipedia.
Yeah, which honestly, you know, and they've also got Marc-Andre Fleury at 6'2", and I don't believe it.
Take it for what it is.
Take it for what it is. You know, he's a Fleury-sized goalie. Okay, not a huge guy. Fleury's small and quick. What is Ranta? Small and quick.
Small and quick, yeah.
He's not a Ben Bishop who's just planning to get a good, you know, angle on you and not let
he
you
looks
think through.
he looks a lot like Fleury, in my opinion, out there. He's got that great lateral movement when he goes down the butterfly. He moves side to side real well. Super quick glove. He can make big desperation saves. Sometimes he may overcommit a little too much from side to side, but I mean, you're nitpicking with the way he played.
At a 930.
Well, and this is 17 more games than he has ever played in a season, with 47 games this year. I mean, he served as a backup in both Chicago and I think it was New York Rangers, in which he played 94 backup games total, and had a good save percentage. You know, played well as a backup. But before this year, his most games played in a season was 30, and that was in 16-17. Still put up great numbers, you know, .922 save percentage.
And is he ready for 50 games?
That's the. Well, he played 47.
You know what? Yeah. So you can't even take that away from him. I think he is ready.
Can he do it again?
And
he's prime years. 29 for a goalie is prime. He's 29 years old.
And that's what we talk about is doing it once is really difficult. Doing it twice is almost impossible. And here's the thing. If he comes back at 80% and the rest of the Coyotes young forwards pick up 10% of their game, 10 maybe 15% of their game in their point production, we have a team who's competing for a playoff spot next year. Not a team who's in the basement. That's for sure.
This is a fringe playoff team right here.
A fringe playoff team. I think that would be our final grade, because we were talking about that a lot before, and I wanted to I wanted to say Western Conference Final, and Eric kind of brought me back down a little bit.
If they don't make the playoffs, they're going to be a few points out. It's tough to believe they're going to be any lower than that.
That's right.
They have so much going for them. It's going to be such a fun year to watch them play.
Basically, try to tune into a couple of West Coast games here. It really seems as though Arizona has something special going on, and we're excited to watch them. Plain and simple.
Pumped up.
So, with that said, thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate it. This was the State of the Arizona Coyotes. Have a great day.